Officer White, can you hear me?
Can you give me excuse me for just a moment? Sorry, there's a wasp in here. Give me just a second.
Sure. We'll be with you in 1 second, Officer White.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, great. Can we bring Mr. Hill back up?
Right, and Officer White, are you able to get somewhere where you're not driving?
Yes, ma'am. I'm about to park at the precinct now.
Oh, great, thank you.
He's here, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And Officer White, take your time. We'll wait for you. I don't want you having an accident.
Yeah, turn around in the back of the parking lot, and I'm good.
And just to be make sure because we're recording the warrant that ends in 99, and I just told Ms. Hill, it says on the warrant, driving dash failure to keep in proper lane was typed on the warrant.
Okay.
So I wrote down what was listed in CPUA as the how they coded it, but specifically on the warrant, it says failure to keep in proper lane.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready, Officer White?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today is July 27, 2022. This is 8:30 a.m. calendar. My name is Brad Gardner. I'm going to be the judge presiding over this matter today. This is State of Georgia versus Charles Hill. Mr. Hill is charged in warrant number 2022 CW 53196 with aggravated assault. He's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 53197 with committing the offense of failure to keep lane. He's charged in 97 with cruelty to children in first degree. He's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 53198 with committing the offense of hit and run. He's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 53199 with committing the offense of failure to keep lane. He's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 53200 with reckless driving. And he's charged in warrant number 2022 CW 5319. 53201 with possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That's a misdemeanor. He's charged with warrant number 2022 CW 53202 with possession with the intent to distribute marijuana. Mr. Hill is present here in court today. He's being represented by attorney Rhonda Hill. Ms. Hill's present. The state is being represented by attorney Cheryl Freeman, who is also present. Ms. Freeman, would you please swear in your witness and present your case?
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer White, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony about to provide in the matter of state of Georgia versus Charles Hill will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Wait, I can't hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
You can lower your hand. Please tell us your name and how you're employed.
C. White with the Clayton County Police Department
And sir, how long have you worked with the Clayton County Police Department?
for years.
Were you working with the Clayton County Police Department on July 10th of 2022?
I was.
On that particular day, were you dispatched to a vehicle accident at Tara Boulevard and Sherwood Road in Jonesboro, Georgia, Clayton County?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
Please tell us what you found out when you got to that location.
While en route to that location, I had accidentally missed my turn for Sherwood and had to go down to the next intersection, which was Battle Creek Road and Tara Boulevard, where I made contact with the victim of the incident, along with a Jonesboro officer that was on scene. I spoke with the victim, and she had advised me that she was leaving her apartment complex, and when she had made a right out of her apartment complex, a car had sped to her car. She then realized it was her ex-boyfriend. She then made a U-turn at Tara Boulevard and Mountain Zion Boulevard in an attempt to get away from him. She advised that he turned directly behind her and was weaving in and out of traffic to keep up with her. And then as she went to go make another U-turn, he made contact with the left rear of her vehicle. They were then headed back northbound on Tara Boulevard, where the suspect lost control of his vehicle at Sherwood and Tara Boulevard, flipping it over in the BP parking lot. She then made another U-turn while on the phone with the police. She then made contact with the Jonesboro officer, and then I shortly pulled out after that.
Officer White, when you say the victim, is that Miss Maisha Robertson? I didn't hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. And her ex-boyfriend, who does she name as her ex-boyfriend? I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I couldn't hear you. I've got a dog whining at me.
We understand. We understand. Who was her ex-boyfriend?
That is going to be, hold on, if you can give me 1 second, I'll have to go back and look at my report. I believe it's Mr. Hill.
Is that the defendant today, Charles Hill? Did you see any damage or the damage to Ms. Robertson's car?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And were you able to go back and see, I guess, where Mr. Hill flipped his car?
Yes, ma'am.
Did Ms. Robertson have anyone else in the car with her?
Yes, ma'am. She had four, I believe it was 4 juveniles, if I remember correctly. 3 or 4 juveniles were with her at the time.
Were any of those juveniles injured as a result of the accident?
They were not injured, but they could have very easily been injured.
When you arrived at that location and spoke with Ms. Robertson, were the children still with her?
Yes, ma'am, they were.
Okay. Could you tell us what their demeanor was at that time?
Terrified.
Were there any witnesses who saw Mr. Hill following Ms. Robertson or running into her car?
Unfortunately, no witnesses. We were able to obtain video footage from the BP gas station at Sherwood and Terra Boulevard.
Have you been able to review that video footage?
Yes, ma'am.
What were you able to see on that video?
You see the two vehicles approaching northbound. It looks like Mr. Hill makes contact, and then his vehicle starts to turn sideways before leaning at a 45-degree angle and then going off camera's view.
Just so I'm clear, did Mr. Hill, did he lose control of his car right after he struck Ms. Robertson's vehicle?
Due to her statement, because she's even on the 911 call, which we did go back and review. She says she's turning around. Oh my God, he hit me. He lost control. His car flipped. His car flipped. Of course, all this is in a panic because she once again was terrified along with the children because somebody was allegedly trying to strike her vehicle.
You stated earlier that Ms. Robertson had been trying to avoid Mr. Hill. Did she say why?
She advised me that they had a pretty bad breakup they had a pretty bad breakup, and so she had actually moved from her previous apartment to the to Overlook, where she had not told him where she had moved to. She has advised as she was leaving, he just so happened to be coming down the road and saw him.
Oh, sorry about that. From the accident, were you able to determine where Mr. Hill's vehicle was when he struck Ms. Robertson?
Unfortunately, I was not able to just because there was so much damage to the vehicle at that time.
So one of the warrants was for failure to keep in proper lane. Could you tell us the basis for that warrant?
When he struck the vehicle and swerving in lane for the without using the blinker would be his failure to maintain lane, and then when he struck the vehicle losing control of his vehicle, he drifted across 3 separate lanes.
There was also a warrant for Mr. Hill regarding hit and run, duty of driver to stop at or return to the scene of the accident. If you could tell us the basis for that warrant.
After the incident, he had fled the scene on foot.
Was Mr. Hill apprehended that day?
I didn't apprehend him, so I honestly, I have no idea, ma'am.
Since this happened, have you been able to interview Mr. Hill?
No, ma'am.
Did you locate any identifying information in the car that had flipped to confirm that was Mr. Hill?
Yes, ma'am. It was a wallet with his ID that was placed in Clayton County evidence for safekeeping.
Okay. Was there anything else found in the wallet where you also located Mr. Hill's ID?
Yes, ma'am. Crack cocaine.
Was that crack cocaine inside of the wallet?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it?
was wrapped up.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said, yes, ma'am, it was. It was wrapped up inside of a gum wrapper or a piece of aluminum foil that was stuck behind where if you're familiar with a trifold wallet, they always have a pocket for pictures, and it was stuffed in there.
Was that field tested?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am, it was.
And what was the result?
That's the positive.
Was there anything else located in the wallet?
Inside the wallet, I don't recall.
There was a warrant that was taken out for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. If you can, tell us the basis for that warrant.
So marijuana was also located inside the vehicle, wrapped up in a $10 bill, a $5 or $10 bill.
And that was, do you recall where in the vehicle it was located?
That was sitting, if I remember correctly, that was sitting in front of the driver's seat on the dashboard.
Officer White, based on your training and experience, the substance that you believe to be marijuana, did it have the characteristics or smell of what you believe to be marijuana?
Yes, ma'am, it did. It was a leafy green substance that, in of course, my opinion, smelled like unburnt marijuana.
Did all of this happen in Clayton County?
Ma'am, it did.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Good.
Ms. Hill, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Officer White.
Good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon.
So did you listen to the 911 phone calls?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay. And about how long was that phone call?
The phone call was roughly 3 to 5 minutes.
And let's see, Miss Robertson, she made this call while she was driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And her statements on the 911 call, do you recall what she said exactly?
Bits and pieces of it, I do. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
And what were her allegations?
She was advising that she was being followed. The person following her was attempting to hit her. She then advised that her vehicle had been struck. She then advised that the other vehicle lost control and had flipped off.
Okay. Did you speak to any witnesses when you arrived on the scene? Any other witnesses aside from Ms. Robertson?
No, ma'am. The only other person that was on scene because it was 2 different locations. The only person that was on scene where I first made contact was the Jonesboro officer that was out there.
Okay. Did Ms. Robertson, did she have any video footage of the incident?
No, ma'am. That video evidence was collected from the BP gas station.
Okay, and that was the only video evidence available. Okay. How old were the juveniles that were in the car?
I don't recall their ages, but I want to say it ranges from 5 to 9.
Okay. And I just want to be clear. So Ms. Robertson alleged that her relationship with Mr. Hill was over and he that her relationship with him was over and it was her ex-boyfriend. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's what she advised to me.
And she also alleged that they no longer live together. Is that correct? Okay. Let's get to the drugs that you found in the car, specifically the crack cocaine. Do you recall how much you said you found in the car?
I don't. That's something I had to go back and look at, but I won't say it was like 2 grams
Okay.
and a half.
Okay. And how much marijuana did you find?
I don't recall the exact weight on it.
Okay. Do you recall if that was packaged in one package or in multiple packages?
I would have to go back and look. I do know that there was some wrapped up in a $5 bill. I remember that specifically because I thought that was odd.
Okay. Let's see. Did you say that Miss Robertson, was she injured in any way?
She was not.
And the children were not injured either, correct?
Just shook up. Children were terrified and she was shook up.
Okay. As far as the accident goes, did you review the scene where the accident occurred for tire marks?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see tire marks?
I did, but I personally couldn't determine whether those tire marks were specifically from that incident or had they been from a car that had been burning out and in the middle of the night or whatnot.
Okay. All right. Were you guys able to, what was the state of the vehicle that was driven, allegedly driven by Mr. Hill?
When I arrived on scene, it had already been rolled back over and pulled up on, it was beginning to be pulled up onto a flatbed. But it was very damaged though. They had a lot of damage to the outside of it.
Okay. Let's see. What was the damage to Miss Robertson's car?
It would have been the rear left had been struck. It was all minor damage to her vehicle.
Okay, but she did have damage to the back of the vehicle. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see. Did the officer that was present on the scene, the Jonesboro police officer, did he relate to you any more statements made by Ms. Robertson that you haven't?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
He was just there to stand by with her. He was outside of his jurisdiction, just coming to assist us until we arrived.
Okay. But no other witnesses saw the accident that you've spoken with. Is that correct?
We just stuck around, no, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Okay. So couple of final questions. So you also charged him with reckless driving. Is that correct? And what was the basis for reckless driving?
The basis for reckless driving was driving above and beyond the speed limit and with the traffic that was out there, having to weave in and out of the traffic to attempt to catch up with the victim.
And that was based on her testimony. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because other than that, there were no traffic devices that caught his speed or anything. Is that right? Okay. All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Attorney Hill, I sent you a message in the chat. I just want to make sure you saw that before you finish.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure that you and the court had specifically what it said on the warrant. I apologize. Just wanted to make sure. And Judge, I don't have any additional questions. The state rests.
Okay, thank you. Officer White, you may be excused. You're certainly welcome to stay on if you want to, but you are no longer under your subpoena to be here. Okay. Ms. Hill, do you expect to call any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm gonna presume that Ms. Freeman is gonna waive opening.
That's correct, Judge.
Ms. Hill, I'll hear from you.
We're going to submit on the evidence, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Freeman?
Judge, given that the public defender's office is submitting the evidence, we ask that all charges be bound over to Superior Court.
Okay, I'm gonna find that the evidence is sufficient at this stage to bind over these charges to the Superior Court. And although I only have one on the calendar, I'm gonna do all of the charges. 2022 CW 53196 is aggravated assault. That's what's charged on our calendar. Warrant number ending in 97, child cruelty in first degree. Gonna bind that over. The warrant number ending in 98, hit and run. I'm gonna bind that over. Warrant number ending in 99, failure to keep lane. I'm gonna bind that over. Warrant number ending in 00, reckless driving. I'm gonna bind that over. Warrant number ending in 01. I'm going to bind that over, and warrant number ending in 02. I'm going to bind that over. So all charges will be bound over to the Superior Court of Clayton County. Mr. Hill can go back. It appears that hold on. I'm doing it on my own.